Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to our session from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 5 at the moment. Karma Yoga, the action in Krishna Consciousness. And we have done up to verse 20 so far. And we shall continue from there onwards. Bhayasparsheva saktatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sa brahma yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Verse 22, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyavantaha kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Verse 23, Shaknoti haiva yaha sodhum praksharira vimokshanat kama krodho bhavam vegam sayukta sa sukhe naraha. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the forces of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. Verse 24, Yo anta sukho antar aramas tathantar jyotir eva yah sa yogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto digachati. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inwards, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Labhante brahma nirvana brishayah kshina kalmashaha chinnadvaidha yatatmanah sarvabhuta hiterata. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Verse 26, Kama krodha vimuktanam yatinam yatachetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. Verse 27, Sparshan kritva bahirbahyam kshu shachaiva vantare bhuvoho pranapanau samo kritva nasabhyantar charino. And then verse 28 is also given together. Yatendriya yamano buddhir munir moksha parayanaha vigatecha bhaya krodho yah sada bhuktas eva saha. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses and intelligence, the transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. Verse 29, Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram Suridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. Translation: a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material desires. So yesterday we were reading how Bhagwan was telling Arjun that Bhagwan is the controller, he is the proprietor, and he is the one who sanctions our desires within, because he is situated within us as super soul. So the ones who understand their position in relation to Bhagwan, that is, they are the servitors of Bhagwan, they are parts and parcel of Bhagwan, but quantitatively we are not same, we are only qualitatively we have got the similar qualities to the Bhagwan. So when one understands this position of his or her, this is the eternal position of our soul, then such a person is a self-realized person. So Bhagwan is continuing from there onwards, and the Prabhupada says that such a person is a person in Krishna consciousness. So if you were asked for the definition of Krishna consciousness, you can define Krishna consciousness like this as well. In verse 21, Bhagwan is telling Arjun that a person who is not attracted to material sense pleasure, who is always in trance, in a kind of samadhi, and who is enjoying the pleasures within. This word is very important here, within, not outside, but within. In this way, that person, that self-realized person, is in the unlimited happiness, because he is concentrating his entire consciousness onto the Supreme, to the Supreme situated in the heart as Super Soul. So that person is not going to derive too much pleasure from the outside pleasures, and will be self-satisfied, will be happy, will not be striving too hard to get the pleasures, and that person won't be too much entangled in the sensory pleasures of this world. And that is the biggest illusion for all of us. In verse 22, Bhagwan continues that a person who is intelligent, that person is not going to take part in the sources of misery, which is, all the activities around us in this material world, which they all look like very sweet in the beginning, but the end result is always sour, is always bitter, is always the harbinger of the unhappiness in the long run. So this is the nature of the material world, and as we know, the three modes of material nature, they are constantly engaged in engaging us, the people with the material body, because we are made of matter, and we are very good at reacting with the modes of nature, and whatever or whichever mode of nature, which is material nature, which is predominant in us, takes over our, so as to say, the existence in this life. So Krishna is cautioning all of us not to be drowned in the sensory pleasures of this world, but to be very mindful all the time of our eternal position in relation to Bhagwan, that we are the servants of Bhagwan. The ultimate happiness for our souls is in serving the Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord. Verse 23, Bhagwan is continuing in his instructions to Arjun that a person who at the very end of their life, before giving up their present bodies, who are able to control their senses and control the opposite forces who are always working against us, that is the anger and the force for desire, that person has got themselves nicely situated, and that person is always happy in this world. So we can see that Bhagwan has given us this birth, due to our past life karmas, we have all gained a different kind of body, a different kind of existence, and Bhagwan has also equipped us with all the knowledge how to go about it in the form of Bhagavad Gita, in form of the instructions imparted to Arjun on the battlefield. So it's up to us that how far we can take our self-realization, how far we are able to walk with the instructions of Krishna in this lifetime. In verse 24, Bhagwan is telling Arjun that and the person who is able to be happy within themselves is able to live nicely in that way, whose intention and attention is more inwards than outwards, that person is liberated, and that person is the one who ultimately gets Supreme Lord himself. Now that state, Prabhupada tells in the purport, is the Brahmabhuta state. That is by attaining that state, one is assured of going back to Godhead, going back to the home. Because that person is not deriving the happiness from the outside world. He's not dependent on the outside world to give him or her the happiness. Verse 25 tells us that the duality is coming from doubts. The source of doubts is our mind, and the ones who are above these dualities of life, who are working for the happiness of others, who are trying to preach the Krishna consciousness, or whatever little they have learned about the Lord, and whatever they have learned in the process of self-realization, when they have understood that they are the souls, they are not just these bodies, they understood they are the souls residing in the body, not vice versa, not a soul with the body. Those people are ultimately the true devotees of Lord, and their sins are freed completely, and they are given the liberation by the Supreme. So this is the first class welfare. Prabhupada calls it the first class welfare in the purports, and that is, and he further says, Prabhupada says that the Krishna conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of the Lord. Because this person is completely free from sin, this person has got no envy or no competition with the Lord himself. This person has understood their position in this life, that what is the purpose of their life and what are they doing, and what is their final goal. Final goal is to cut these journeys of coming back to the material world, and to be able to go beyond these, and to be able to serve the Lord in his eternal abode. In verse 26, Bhagwan says, the ones who are free from anger and all material desires. Yes, Bhagwan is telling us that because of the desires, these relentless desires which keep creeping into our minds, because we see so much, we hear so much, and all that we hear and we see and we interact with other people, that leaves an impression, an indelible impression in our minds. And the impressions are not just from this life, these impressions are from time immemorial, from our past lives. The unfulfilled desires, they then sprout themselves as anger, and instead the ones who are self-realized, who understand their position, who understand their eternal duty towards Lord, they are self-disciplined, and they are quietly endeavoring, they're quietly trying for perfection. And because they understand, no, we are not perfect, we are nowhere near the perfection, but still we have to continue our sadhana, because even if we are able to achieve 20% of the merit in this life, and maybe 30 or 40% in the next, and then again the remainder will be accrued in the third life, and then finally when there is 100%, then we will have finally the eligibility to enter the kingdom of Lord and to serve him in his Golok Dham. So once you understand the whole situation, where you are situated, where is your locus in life, and who is the focus of your life, then you are able to serve the Almighty and strive for that goal nicely. In verses 27 and 28, Bhagwan is saying to Arjun that he has to shut out all the external sense objects, and he has to keep his focus between his eyebrows. And actually this is to be done to be able to then, through his breath as well, through the nostrils, then he'll be able to control his mind and his senses. So unless and until the journey will be within, until then a person won't be able to understand what is actually the soul is looking for, what is our souls are hankering for the past so many lives. Because if the vision is only directed outside, all you can see is the senses will show you all this the cheap entertainment, or the cheap desires, or the useless desires one hankers for in life. But with the gaze, when it is within, when you'll be able to reach the super soul in the inner cores of your heart, then only the soul will be happy, because you'll be still doing everything for your survival in this world, for the relationships and the friendships and your professional side of life as well. But you will at least know that all this drama is actually been created for you in this life, because as a human only you are able to go deeper into the inner cores of your heart and see that, yes, I have got all the instructions coming from within, from the super soul, who is Bhagwan himself sitting by my Atma, that Paramatma or the super soul. He is so much eager to sanction my righteous and pious desires. So we all have to aim for that. That state is only going to give us liberation. So in the last verse of this chapter, verse 29, which is very famous verse, Bhoktaram Yagitapasam Sarvalok Maheshwaram. So here Bhagwan says that a person who is in full consciousness of me, who is fully aware of me, who knows me, that is Bhagwan, to be the ultimate benefactor of all the sacrifices, all austerities, and the Lord of all the planets and all the demigods, and he is the well-wisher of all the entities and the entire creation. A person, when they understand Bhagwan like that, only that person can attain the peace from the miseries of this material life. So we are all conditioned. We are not just conditioned from this life. We are conditioned from God knows how many lives, from all kinds of species we have traversed into, and our our mind still doesn't let us have peace. Sometimes the mind will destroy our righteous desires at times, but we have to be in control of our mind with our intelligence and with the association with the guidance of Prabhupada's books. And you can always clear your doubts with the senior devotees, and also with the Prabhupada books. Or in today's circumstances, we have got the online association. So there actually in these days of pandemic, there is too much association, if we can say. So we have got so much choice. It's up to us to just reach out for the right answers at the right time, and just help ourselves, because this is the garb of the human being, is the only where we can have the elevation to the self-realization, the kind of self-realization our souls are hankering for. So there should be no lamentation when the time is up for us. At least we could have easily said to ourselves that we have tried our best in this life. So if there is anything which is left to be still done, God will help us. God helped Ajamil as well, as we have seen. Ajamil, who was very pious till the age of 25, and who became impious afterwards. But because of the piety done before, as a person who was born in a Brahmin family, towards the end of his life, even after behaving like a dacoit through from 25 years onwards, in the twilight of his life, he was able to call Narayan's name and have the favor of the Vishnu Doots, and he achieved the liberation. So there's hope for everyone. There's the story of Maharaj Bharat as well, as you all know. So we should not give up hope. We should just clear our doubts from this eternal book of song, the Bhagavad Gita. It is there at our disposal. God has given us, and thanks to Prabhupada, it is translated in all the different languages of the world. So we have no excuse, and it is getting more and more popular day by day. It is the most sold book on the internet, even on the Amazon and other online sources. So please make most of this beautiful situation God has given us, the circumstances created by the providence for us, this is the time for introspection for all of us since this year began, and still the situation continues. So we should make most of this. And from tomorrow we have the all auspicious Damodar month beginning, and our endeavors would be rewarded so many times more. It won't be much as the mercy won't be much as it was in the Purushottam month, but still it is a very, very beautiful month. Bhagwan appearing in front of us as the little Damodar. And yes, and God will definitely bless us and bless our efforts and our right intentions and desires. We should visualize the kind of situation we want us in relation to God, and God will definitely provide everything, because this is what he wants, and he's a bit partial towards his devotees. So let's make most of it, and we shall continue with chapter 6 next time. And we have learned that pure Karma Yoga and pure Jnana Yoga and pure Dhyana Yoga equals to pure Bhakti Yoga. So we will begin chapter 6 Dhyana Yoga next time. Hariam Tat Sat, and I wish you all a very happy Damodar month in advance, which begins tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna, Hari Om Tat Sat.